Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Chapter 1, Down the Rabbit Hole. On a warm summer day, Alice sits by the riverbank, idly reading her sister's book. Suddenly, she spots a white rabbit in a waistcoat, frantically checking a pocket watch. Curiosity piqued, Alice follows him down the tunnel. She tumbles into a vast hallway lined with doors of all shapes and sizes. One small door catches her attention, and she discovers a key on a nearby table. But alas, she's too large to fit through. Alice then encounters a bottle labeled Drink Main and a cake labeled Eat Main, which causes her to shrink and grow. Still unable to enter the garden, she cries giant tears that form a pool, and she falls into it. Chapter 2, The Pool of Tears. Alice's growth spurts cause chaos. First, she's too big for the door after grabbing the key. Then her tears flood the hallway. The white rabbit scurries away in fear. When Alice seeks help, frustrated and confused, Alice realizes she can't remember basic things. Fortunately, fanning herself shrinks her down again. However, the key remains out of reach and she falls into a pool of tears. There, she meets a scared mouse who reluctantly agrees to accompany her after she unintentionally scares him with talk of cats and dogs. Chapter 3, Air Caucus Race and a Long Tail. Being soaked, other creatures desperately seek ways to dry off. The mouse attempts a dry story but to no avail. They decide on a nonsensical caucus race where everyone runs in circles. After a while, they declare themselves all winners and look to Alice for prizes, which she fortunately has in her pocket. The mouse receives a thimble but feels disregarded when no one listens to his sad story. Alice's mention of her cat frightens everyone away again, leaving her alone. Chapter 4, The Rabbit Sends in a Little Bill. The frantic white rabbit reappears searching for his lost belongings. Mistaking Alice for his maid, he sends her on an errand to retrieve them. Inside his house, Alice drinks another potion hoping to grow, but instead becomes gigantic and fills the entire room. The frustrated rabbit and his frantic attempts to remove Alice prove futile. Eventually, a well-placed cake shrinks Alice back down, allowing her to escape. Lost and alone again, she encounters a giant puppy and narrowly avoids being crushed. Chapter 5, Advice from a Caterpillar. Alice's identity crisis deepens as she confesses to the enigmatic caterpillar her confusion due to her many size changes. Their prickly exchange highlights Alice's frustration and Caterpillar's dismissive attitude. He offers a solution, a two-sided mushroom to control her height. Uncertain which side does what, Alice nibbles one side and shrinks comically, then munches the other side to shoot up like a tree. Mistaken for a giant snake by a bird, Alice uses wit to de-escalate the situation. Finally, with the help of the mushroom, she achieves her normal size again and approaches a small house in the woods, ready for her next adventure. Chapter 6, Pig and Pepper. Alice arrives at a peculiar house after adjusting her size with the mushroom. Fish and frog-like footmen deliver an invitation for the Duchess, who resides inside. Entering the chaotic kitchen, Alice encounters a sneezing Duchess nursing a baby, a grinning cat, and a pepper-throwing cook. The baby transforms into a pig and escapes. The Cheshire Cat, known for its mischievous grinning, gives cryptic directions to the March Hare before vanishing in stages. Now, with a plan, Alice prepares to visit the hare's house, once again using the mushroom to adjust her size. Chapter 7, A Mad Tea Party. Alice finds a bizarre tea party in progress under a tree, with the March Hare, the Mad Hare, the Mad Hatter, and a sleepy dormouse all crammed around a table. Despite being unwelcome, Alice joins them and endures nonsensical riddles, rude remarks, and pronouncements about time being a person stuck at 6 o'clock. The nonsensical tea party ends with a disjointed story from the dormouse before Alice escapes, finally able to unlock the small door and enter the beautiful garden with the help of the mushroom. Chapter 8, The Queen's Croquet Ground. Alice stumbles upon a chaotic scene: gardeners frantically painting white roses red to appease the Queen of Hearts. The Queen's arrival sparks fear and near beheadings, but Alice's defiance and quick thinking save the gardeners. Alice joins the Queen's peculiar croquet game, where flamingos serve as mallets and hedgehogs as balls. The Cheshire Cat appears, adding to the confusion with its mischievous grin. A debate erupts over whether the Cheshire Cat, with only its head visible, can be beheaded. Alice suggests the Duchess might know, but just as the Duchess arrives, the cat vanishes. Chapter 9, The Mock Turtle Story. Escaping the chaotic croquet game, Alice finds herself walking with the oddly cheerful Duchess, who spouts nonsensical morals. The Queen's sudden appearance sends the Duchess fleeing, and Alice rejoins the game. As the Queen's beheading spree eliminates everyone else, Alice is left alone with the King, who surprisingly pardons all the prisoners. Under the Queen's orders, a griffin escorts Alice to the Mock Turtle, a sorrowful creature who, despite the griffin's claims of happiness, tearfully recounts his school days as a real turtle at the bottom of the sea. Chapter 10, The Lobster Quadrille. The Mock Turtle and the Griffin entertain Alice with a peculiar dance called the Lobster Quadrille, complete with a song. Eager to share her own experiences, Alice recounts her day's adventures. However, they mock her attempts to recite poems and interrupt her with their own nonsensical rhyme. The mood is abruptly shattered by the cry of a trial beginning. Alice, ever curious but cautious, abandons the Mock Turtle mid-song and rushes off with the Griffin, leaving the poor creature singing alone. Chapter 11. Who Stole the Tarts? Upon arrival, Alice sees the King and Queen of Hearts sitting on their throne, with a great crowd assembled about them. The Knave of Hearts stands accused of stealing tarts, and the jittery White Rabbit acts as both herald and reader of the accusation. While the jurors appear hopelessly clueless, Alice notices with growing unease that she might be next on the hot seat as a witness in this bizarre trial. Chapter 12. A Mad Tea Party. The nonsensical trial reaches a fever pitch. Alice's growing size disrupts the courtroom, and her defiance of the illogical rules further frustrates the King and Queen. A nonsensical poem presented as evidence only adds to the confusion. Just as Alice boldly exposes the absurdity of the court, she awakens to find it was all a dream. Her sister listens patiently to her fantastical adventures, then dreams of Alice growing up while holding on to the innocence of childhood.